Well, well, fancy meeting you here. Once again, I am TheFish, and I've got another really awesome game to show you guys today. This one is going to be Protoss versus Protoss. Now, I've been following a bunch of games from Liquid HerO. Of course, I was able to download a replay pack from him, so thanks for him for throwing that up, and congratulations again to him for getting to Code S for next season. Now today I've got a really exciting game to show you guys. The map's gonna be Metalopolis, and of course the matchup is gonna be Protoss versus Protoss. Now maybe you're not so familiar with how PvP has been going these days, and well, it's a bit of a tough matchup. Not quite so tough as Zerg versus Zerg. But it's a bit coin flippy in the sense that a certain build order can win a game for you pretty quickly or lose it. But today we're going to be watching Inori versus HerO, and if you guys don't know who Inori is, he's Korean, obviously Protoss, and he's famous for his PvP. If this were a baseball game, then he would be the left-handed pitcher that comes in only to face lefties, and in this case HerO is of course a lefty, being a Protoss. So in Inori, what he's known for in PvP though is bringing it into the macro game, whereas a lot of PvP games would end rather quickly. In Inori's case, he's really good at extending the games and bringing them into the macro game. That's where he's comfortable in PvP. That's where he likes to win. Now, Inori also recently joined Team TSL, or Team SCV Life, so that was pretty recent also. So best of luck to him and his new team, and I'm excited to see him play today. I haven't watched him all that much except where I can. And Inori is actually going to be stealing HerO's gas right here, so that's a bit interesting. It might actually limit HerO's build order choices, and I've seen a lot of good Protoss players do this in PvP, where they do the gas steal. It kind of messes up your opponent. If they were planning on going with a certain build order, you know, it might screw them up. So Inori now also going to be grabbing his second gas, and well, we're going to have to see what kind of a build order both of these players decide to go for. And HerO's going to be, of course, working down this simulator with his zealots, and Inori is going to be chasing HerO's scouting probe. So nothing too wild, and we'll have to see what kind of build order these two are going to be going for. Both of them, for now, have been basically mirroring each other. HerO is actually up by about 2 supply, mostly because he's got the second zealot out. And this is where we're going to start to see the divergence in strategy. Of course, HerO, because he doesn't have this simulator, he's not going to be able to go gas heavy right away. But this is where it's going to start to flesh out. You know, what's Inori going to do? He's going to throw down a Robo Bay. Okay, so he's got 1 Bay Robo. We're going to have to see if he wants to expand using this Robo Bay. You can use Immortals or even a Fast Colossi to secure your base. At least I think. And HerO's going to be also be doing another Robo Bay, but he's going to have another Gateway. So that's going to be interesting. So another Gateway coming down for Inori, and it looks like, again, these players, again, if you look at the production tab, it's almost like a mirror. Like, of course it is a mirror matchup, but they've got pretty identical build orders here. So anyway, Inori is going to be going 3-gate Robo, and it looks like he might be thinking about putting on some early pressure here, or possibly attacking. And of course, these sentries are really good for force fielding off this ramp. If you can force field off the ramp there, it's really well, it's good. You can keep people from getting into your base. Anyway, we do see an observer coming out first for Inori, and a robotics bag. So a lot of tech off of one base out of both of these players so far, and it looks like HerO's going to be going for an Immortal out of this Robo Bay. So it's a bit of a dance going on right now. Who's going to expand first, I think, but it looks like HerO is more preparing for the expansion, whereas Inori, he looks like he's getting ready to get aggressive. So what's he going to be doing? Another Immortal coming out, and both players playing pretty defensively. I'm surprised. PvP used to be basically a ton of 4 gates. You know, it's basically like 4 gate versus 3 gate robo, or you know, it was really a kind of a rocks paper scissors match. Whereas now we do see again kind of similar build order. We've got HerO going for the robo bay. Inori going to be coming in with an observer here to try and figure out exactly what's going on, and HerO's going to try and hunt this thing down. He actually spotted that, which is pretty amazing. Okay, now we see something interesting. Now we see something very interesting. I'm not even sure where you researched that, but Gravitic Drive coming down for Inori, so it looks like he's going to be going for a Warp Prism. I would not be surprised to see 2 Immortals get dropped in HerO's base, but considering how quickly HerO saw this Observer, which was cloaked, I'd be surprised if, I mean, the thing doesn't even show up on the mini-map and HerO saw it. I'd be surprised if Inori is able to sneak into HerO's base too easily. So yeah, now we do see the Warp Prism coming down. And take a look at the production tab, guys. We have the exact same thing coming out for HerO. Gravitic Drive Warp Prism. I wonder if the 2 Warp Prisms will meet in the middle and both turn around, or if they'll try and go for some sort of a weird double drop scenario where both players are dropping into each other's bases. And now we do see both Warp Prisms, they're actually going to fly almost right into each other. HerO's going to turn around right away. He's going to spawn 2 Stalkers to try and take this thing out. But both Immortals are going to be dropped, and HerO's going to be dropping both his Immortals, and Inori's going to be forced to turn right back around. HerO pursuing with his own Warp Prism. But man, this is pretty funny stuff. They're doing the exact same thing. And both players now have a Colossus on the way, and Inori going to be continuing to attack. Nice pylon snipe there by HerO. He's going to actually supply block Inori. And we're having the dance of the Warp Prisms here. This is a pretty wild game. So Starport coming down. This is a lot more tech and a lot more buildings than Inori can support off of one base. So it's going to be interesting to see if he ever decides to expand. Inori's supply now evening out because HerO decided to do some really nice harassment with these 2 Immortals supply blocking him once again. The Colossus now out on the field, and HerO using his harassment to expand. Inori now coming in with a drop of his own, and he's going to be returning the favor. Alright, HerO, you want to kill my pylons? I'm going to kill yours now. Oh, but he doesn't do it. 4 health remain on this pylon. So a little bit of a misstep, and the mirror is over. I'd say HerO is ahead ever so slightly. He's going to be dropping off, and again he's not going to get it, and almost loses that Warp Prism. He's got to be really careful. And HerO really defending this pylon. He's trying to get whatever advantage he can. And he knows it. He knows he's ahead by ever such a slight margin. Just the fact that Inori had to build 3 pylons right here, I mean, that's 300. This was 400, so basically a free nexus for HerO. So things are looking pretty good, but we're getting into, I guess you could say, like the mid to late game almost, except that both players again are on one base. Crazy Pro DOS players with your one base play. HerO doing some brilliant harassment work, but he's just going to go ahead and fly right out. Oh, this Phoenix is caught in wind of this Warp Prism. He's going to, well, it looks like Inori's going to back off here. There's a lot of stuff going on in this game. Inori flying around with this Warp Prism. He's going to be throwing down his own expansion, and we're going to see HerO's expansion now finished, so we'll have to see if he's going to be transferring probes over. Yes, he is. Inori now moving in with this Warp Prism. He's going to try and do some harassment. We'll see if he wants to get that pylon. He's going to turn around and back up. Oh, you got to get out of there, Inori. Those stalkers are right on your tail. And I guess HerO doesn't have Blink. Not so important in this matchup. Inori going to be coming around trying to get some more harassment done. Looks like he will be able to take out a couple probes here. HerO coming in with his own Warp Prism, and that ought to shut this down pretty effectively. Warp Prism's almost going to be going down, but now these 2 Immortals are dropped, and it looks like HerO's going to respond with his own 2 Immortals. Inori going to be picking those up. I don't see any Stalkers in range, though, so a very close call for Inori, almost losing everything there. And losing an advantage like that could be a big problem. HerO doing something really smart. He's actually pursuing with Stalkers. Oh my goodness, 4 hit points. He really wants to get that War Prism, but it looks like he's actually going to lose 2 Stalkers there. And, oh boy! Wow, this is a game of millimeters at this point. It looks like here's going to try and take it out, but just doesn't make it. 7 hit points left on this thing. Unreal. These guys are good, man. You ever see those commercials with the PGA Tour guys, and you see like Tiger Woods hit like a hole-in-one or whatever, and then it's like, these guys are good. So like a bunch of 2 guys like sitting around watching on TV like, man, these guys are good. That's how I feel every time I watch these guys play, man. These Korean players are so good. Anyway, looks like Inori's going to be sacrificing this War Prism to either see what's going on in HerO's base, or maybe just leaving it there, just spot. A bit of a spotter unit now. He doesn't want to lose all those Immortals, man. That would be catastrophic. And we do see supplies are dead even at 15 minutes into the game. How often do you see that? So, both these players dead even. Let's see the Colossus count. I recall seeing a recent game with Huck and somebody else. I can't remember. I think it might have been Morrow or somebody from Mouse Sports. Anyway, it came down to like 12 Colossus against 13 Colossus, and 13 Colossus won because he had 1 more Colossus. So a lot of times that's what happens in late game PvP. You just see like armies of Colossi facing off. It's a bit strange, like a War of the Worlds or something, if the aliens are fighting a civil war. So Inori coming in to scout with this War Prism. He's going to have to turn right around. HerO's almost getting mined out of his main. Actually, both these players are, so he might be back again to 1 base versus 1 base. So we do see finally they're deviating slightly. These slight deviations in build orders seem to be what's driving this game. And Inori is going to be favoring the air play, whereas of course HerO's got this Dark Shrine coming out and Blink, which I think is going to be very helpful against these Phoenix. Meanwhile, Inori is going to be playing pretty defensively. He really wants to... I know that he's very comfortable playing more of a macro game, so I'd be wondering if he's going to try to throw down a 3rd base or what's going to happen. The army size is so big at this point that... Here losing a Zealot there. The army sides are so big at this point that a good engagement now, we're finally at the point in the PvP matchup where 1 good engagement could actually turn the tides of battle. The pylon's going to get spotted immediately by Inori. HerO's actually going to be keeping this probe alive. That's funny. And another pylon getting set up is going to get cancelled. And I think that HerO is trying to get some DTs to warp in there, but he's going to have to warp them in back home and run them over if he wants to. I thought I just saw a DT on the production tab, but I'm not sure what happened to him. I don't see anything in Inori's base, but he's going to be coming in with these 4 Phoenix. He's going to try to harass, deny a little bit of gas mining here and take a few probes out. But a nice Blink is going to catch them. So we're basically seeing a very, very slow game here with pretty much nobody's committing to anything. Both these players pretty much know that if they try to commit to some sort of an attack, it could be the end of the game for them. So both players are just going to be content to sit back and try and max out on Colossus. So 1 base Colossi. So now we do see, let's check the Colossi count. 6 for Inori versus 7 for HerO. And Inori's supply is actually a lot higher than HerO's, and I'm wondering why that is. I think he's just got a ton more Zealots. I think that's really what it is. He just dumped a lot more money into Zealots, basically. Plus, of course... Oh, looks like HerO's going to get a free Colossi here, so that could help into the late game. Inori's not happy with that, but 4 Phoenix is not very good against 12 Stalkers. HerO's going to try and focus down the Robo Bay. If he gets it, it could be good, but all the Zealots are going to come in there. You got to blink out of there, HerO, and it looks like a pretty nice trade for HerO. He takes down the Colossus producing facility, and I think that's going to be the cue for HerO to move in. Well, looks like we're gonna be seeing some fireworks here. DT now in the 3rd base for Inori, 7 kills on that one, so some really good multitasking by HerO is going to result in a lot of probe kills. Now HerO just walking right into his main base here, and he's going to force the movement back from Inori. Meanwhile, he's continuing to try and take out this third, and it looks like this Warp Prism is actually not going to go down. So HerO feigning a little bit. I was kind of hoping he would commit there. I wanted to see this kind of epic battle, but I don't know. I think Inori's this many zealots for Inori, and charge lots even, could be really strong against these Colossi if they're able to catch them in a bad position. So of course, defender's advantage is going to be huge in this matchup. Inori with no detection over here, so he's not going to be able to do much about this guy. Meanwhile, that Warp Prism came back and is now harassing the Forge. He wants to take this Forge out to prevent the ground weapons level 2 upgrade, and he does get it. So another tech snipe for HerO, and that's pretty good. I think HerO continues to work his way ahead in this game. If I had to say, even though the supply count is pretty much even at this point, I would say advantage goes to HerO just because of how many probes he's killed. His own third base is now mining pretty heavily. But yeah, it's been quite a really good, impressive PvP game. So you can see, but both these guys know what they're doing. They play a lot of PvP on ladder, and neither one has yet committed to any kind of an attack. And 23 minutes into the game, we haven't had any sort of an all-in. We've had only harassment. So you can see kind of how slow and long and drawn out these PvP games can become if they aren't a coin flip kind of build order win at the very beginning. So, but it does look like HerO wants to move out here. He now has a ton of zealots, which would be very nice against Inori's army. He does have +1. Both players at +1. Although HerO's +2 is going to be finished very soon. I'll probably be trying to time an attack, since he was able to cancel Inori's Forge. Inori now trying desperately to get that upgrade out in time to deal with this. 3 Archons, though, we do see. 2 Archons for HerO and 9 Colossi to Inori's 7. And a Photon Cannon there is going to prevent this Dark Templar from doing much damage. But meanwhile, HerO always multitasking. He's thinking about blinking into the main here. And it looks like he's gonna run into some Photon Cannons, so I'm not sure if he's gonna be able to do much of anything here, but he will pick off a couple Stalkers and a Pylon, and yeah, he's gonna have to just blink right out there. So great control by HerO. He's keeping Inori on his toes. He's making him go back and forth and back and forth, and we do see a Warp Prism there. But with all these Photon Cannons, there's not much sense in trying to warp DTs in. He can pick off a few probes, but there's not going to be much point, and there's no resources here. At this point, it's basically you just want to get as much, do as much damage as you can, and there's not much damage left to be done. So HerO moving in just with zealots here, and he's going to turn right back around and run away. And I'm not really sure what he's going to try and do there, except that now HerO's warping in zealots into the main. Inori warping his own zealots in and chasing this Warp Prism out, so it doesn't look like HerO's going to be able to do much of anything here. But meanwhile, at Inori's third base, the Stalkers are going to be probably cleaning up absolutely everything as Inori's army is going forward. This is going to be it, folks. HerO's got a great position going on, and all these Colossi are going to be moving in. So here we go, big battle. Couple of Immortals in the mix for HerO, and laser beams all over the place. All the Zealots running into each other and crashing, and that's it for the Zealots. But it looks like HerO is going to be coming out just slightly ahead. He's got a better concave, and having more Colossi, like I said, can really win you the game. So man, was that ever close? I mean, I know that it didn't look all that close at the end, but HerO was able to eke out a win just by methodically getting 100 minerals here, getting a slight advantage there, doing great harassment, doing 2-pronged attacks, keeping Inori on his toes. You can see what kind of multitasking these guys have, and just a really great game, really great demonstration by HerO against one of the top Protoss versus Protoss players in the world. So good game for HerO. hope you guys enjoyed watching, and have a good one.